Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm painting an assault intercessor, and we're doing the hazardous stripes on top of a black scheme. This is what he's looking like. I put him on a custom base that I made that I'll make a video on. But we're starting out with Necromancer Cloak, and we're just dry brushing him with this off gray. It's like a step up from the black primer. And I really like the way his color looks over top of the black. It gives it like a sheen, a lighter gray sheen, or more of a charcoal look. And jumping right into the stripes, we're going to be using the matte white, and I'm just brushing this on here. And we're just adding stripes to his sword here, or his chain sword. And the best thing about, using white over black is like you can go back and straighten up your lines if you have to with the black. I'm doing this really thin, or it can glide across, and then I'll make it more opaque with a second layer. But we just did the same thing to the pads, and then we're going to be using Fire Lizard and Demonic Yellow for the stripe colors. And since these brighter colors, the yellow's not as opaque, and so laying it over white just helps make it contrast better. And we're focusing more on the top of the stripes with the yellow, the Demonic Yellow, and then we'll use the Fire Lizard on the bottom half. And both of these are pretty runny. And really I just did one layer with each of these. 2 layers with the white stripes, and then 1 layer with each of these colors. Did the same thing to the pads. And the last thing I'm going to be using a sepia shade. That's a game wash. And we're doing the whole sword, all the pads. And one thing I like to do just to have a transition is just use my finger and wipe away the wash where I want it to be lighter on the object while it's still wet, so you don't leave no wash marks. So it has like more of a natural gradient from where you set the wash. We did the same thing with the top of the shoulder pad and the knee, to where you can see that vibrant yellow come through. Next we'll be using matte black and uniform gray, and we're using these colors to basically add weathering or damage to his armor. And so starting out with the gray, I'm just stippling it on there, being selective about it where I think it would look, cooler on his chest piece, on his legs, and really thinking about like if this guy was actually running, or where would the damage be on his shins and feet. Just adding characteristics to it. Then we're going back with the black, and just to break up that gray and like make it look more natural. And to scale down the chipping. Then we'll be using that sepia shade again and washing over the stippling that we did, just to blend everything in. And we also use that gray just to edge highlight like the pouch for his gun there, and his gun. Then we're just going back with the gray and just edge highlighting. And then with the black, just breaking up the top case of the gun, the shell of it. Next we'll be using gunmetal. I'm using this for all the trim and the chains on his chainsword. We're just highlighting all the metallic bits. And that's what he's looking like after the gunmetal. Now we're going to use this umber wash, the game wash. And the cool thing about like the Vallejo washes is whenever they dry, it's almost like a weathering wash, like the way they dry. And that's why I like the look of the hazard stripes with that sepia on top. That's what it looks like with the umber wash over the gunmetal. Next we'll be using the black game ink. And the way I use this is I thinned it down a lot. And we're just going over the black just to tone down all the stippling and weathering that we did on the armor. And basically I'll just wipe away at the surface the raised parts just to darken everything underneath while having those details show through. And while it's still wet and it's really thinned down, you won't leave any marks on the model. And then I just use the red game ink for the eyes. I white dotted them first and then I use the red ink over it. It's just harder to show that on a lens that's really close, especially trying to record in first person where you can see exactly what I'm doing. And same thing for the sword and pads. It's just easier to show it on one object or something that doesn't have as much contours as like the pads. But I do the same exact thing. Next we'll be using the gloss varnish, and I'm just highlighting like the pipe on his mask there, or his helmet, and then the top casing on his gun. Just to break that apart from the armor. And for the base, I just use this old rust pigment powder and the ash gray with a white mix, and edge highlighted the rocks on the base that I made. And if you want to see the how I made the base, I'll have a video on that as well. But that is basically it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see y'all next time. Thanks for watching.